And we are back with the Higher Education Leadership Unplugged Real Talk for Real Results. So, we are talking about coping with stress. So, this is video number 2 in that mini series. So, here's the thing, when it comes to stress, a lot of times that can derive from lack of support. Okay. And it comes from not having a social connection. Social connection is very important, especially when it comes to your team members. You would be surprised how many people have been managing a group of folks for years and they have no idea that members on their team even have kids. I mean, that's like the stuff that people always talk about, whether you go into someone's office and you see a picture, on their desk of their spouse or their kids. And I'm not saying that you have to get deep to the point where you have to share the most intimate details of your life, but at least the things that are important to them, you should know as a leader, because it also helps you understand the people who are on your team. And it also aids in how you manage that person. If you get to know your team members, you get to know their different personalities. You'll see who are the really sensitive ones. Because as you know, if you are a leader, you cannot manage everyone on your team the same exact way. First reason, everyone is not performing at the same level. So you can't treat everyone the same way in the first place, right? But then also, everyone on your team has different personality traits. So some people may have tough skin where you can come at them and say, "Listen, I need you to straighten up because I've told you this 3 different times already and I'm tired of repeating myself." And they'll be able to go, "All right, fine. Okay, I got you." But then you have somebody else on your team who you may say that to, and they may cry for the rest of the day, in the bathroom. You have to know who you have on your team so that you can manage them effectively and appropriately. That is so important. The second thing is, if you have social connections with people on your campus or in your organization, now you've just gained yourself some support. And I'm talking about when it comes to your colleagues. You don't ever want to go into work and feel as if you're all by yourself, you're on this island, you're on this land all alone. And if you run into any problems or challenges, you don't even know people that you work with well enough to the point where you feel comfortable going to them and asking them a question. Okay, so get to know the people that you work with. When it comes to your team, here's 2 ways that you can actually, get your foot in the door when it comes to learning your team members. You can do it in a group where you do team building exercises or getting to know you exercises, right? You have the two truths and a lie. You also have what I don't know about you. Name one thing that you don't know, that you don't think any person in this building or on the staff knows about you. Those are different ways where you can gain some insight to who's on your team. And you'd be surprised. Other people will be looking around, even the folks that they talk to, and they're looking like, really? I didn't know that either. Right? That's how you get to know people. Folks like to talk about themselves the same way our students like to talk about themselves, so do your team members. All right. So know how to connect with the people that work for you and work with you. The second way to do that is during your one on ones. So remember, I spoke about making sure that you don't always have group meetings every week only, but you have that one on one time with every single advisor on your team. Is so critical because that's your opportunity to talk about your goals, right? But not necessarily business goals. We're not always talking about class start goals and how far behind you are or how you're doing an amazing job, right? They're personal goals. You may have someone on your team who's always dreamed of being in your position at another campus, right? Who's always dreamed of being your right hand person, getting into management, becoming a main leader on the team. You never know. All of that ties into who that person is as an individual because not everyone has the same expectation. You may have some advisors who's like, I don't want anything to do with management. I enjoy coming in, doing what I need to do, talking to students, and going home to my family, right? But then you may have other people whose aspirations are totally different and they want to move on to another campus where they have their own team. That's your opportunity to groom them But you're not going to know that if you're not having those type of conversations. Okay. So when it comes to social connection, get to know people, know who your team members are, but then most importantly, also get to know your colleagues for your own mental benefit. All right. The second thing is time management. All right, my leaders. So we're always talking about time management when it comes to our teams, right? You're always talking about time management when it comes to your employees and making sure that their desk is clean, making sure that they know their plan for the day. But how many of you can honestly say that you practice that yourself? Okay, with all the things that you have on your plate. I know sometimes it's easy to go off track. All right. So here's some really quick tips that you can implement like right now, as soon as you finish listening to this. Okay. Number one, know what you want to accomplish for the day before you even come into work. I am a checklist guru. Okay. And I love to plan my day the day prior. All right. Because it just makes me feel like when I wake up in the morning, okay, I know what my plan is. I may not get to everything, which is totally fine, but at least I don't wake up in the morning. I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I? Why am I here? What am I doing with my life? Okay, know what your plan is ahead of time. The second thing is what are the top two things that are priority? So back to that checklist, right? When I create a checklist, it's not necessary that I'm trying to get everything on the checklist done today. I'm creating a checklist because I know that there are things that I need to get done at some point during this week, right? So what I'm doing is picking the two top things that are priority, things that are, that have time constraint on it, right? Time sensitive. I'm picking those two priority items that I know I cannot let, spill into the next day. And then after that, you choose the next thing that's on your list that you know is priority. You have to do that because what's going to happen is if you're trying to get everything on your checklist done today, you're going to start one thing, then another, then another, then another. And by the ending of your day, you are going to realize that you have accomplished absolutely nothing, but you have started multiple tasks. So be careful with that, okay? Only work on two items at a time. The third thing is bad multitasking is very dangerous, okay? And what that is being able to multitask, but you're doing things that have absolutely nothing that's related to each other. I don't know if you guys ever saw, I think it was a TikTok or Instagram reel, but there's a person who started off trying to do something. So it's more like, all right, I need to make sure that I start my work today. You know what? Before I start that, I need to get something to drink from the kitchen. So on their way to the kitchen, before they even get to the refrigerator, they find out that the garbage is not emptied. So now they take the garbage and they go outside. On the way to the garbage can, they realize, wait a minute, I never picked up the mail from yesterday. And before they even do that, they're like, you know what? The corner store is right there. So let me just hop in there and get a quick drink. What is this person doing? They're all over the place. And the initial task was one, I need to start my work, but I was thirsty. All of a sudden, there's 5, 6 other tasks that just came into play and nothing has been done. Another way to do that in the worst way possible is to have multiple tabs on your computer open that have nothing to do with each other. Now, some people have tabs open as a reminder. Like me, I have different tabs that are open on my computer because if I don't, I totally forget if I don't write it down that I need to get that done. So it's just as a reminder, it just sits up there, right? But other than that, there's some people who have all these tabs and they're navigating through all of them throughout the day, but none of these tasks have anything to do with each other. So it kind of goes back to having the checklist and starting a whole bunch of things and getting nothing done. It doesn't make you feel good at the ending of the day. Trust me. All right. So do not bad multitask. Finish one task at a time. That's something that I struggle with too, also, because I'm looking at the two priority items and I'm like, all right, I started one, but I really got to get to this other one. Then you're looking at the clock and you're like, oh my gosh, the day is going on. Don't do it to yourself. Finish one thing at a time, one task at a time so that you can check it off. You feel good about yourself, you celebrate it, and then you go to the next task. Two more. Take breaks. I must say this in almost every video because it's so critical to your mental health. You have to take breaks, and that's all I have to say about that. And the last thing is consider tomorrow. Everything doesn't have to get done today. It's still going to be here when you get back tomorrow. All right. So get those 2 high priority items out the way and make sure that you understand that tomorrow is well okay. You can leave it for tomorrow. It's going to be fine. And so will you. All right. I hope you enjoyed this. We have 2 more videos to go with some more amazing tips on how to cope with stress as a leader. All right. Remember to like, comment, and if you think that this information is going to help somebody, a big deal, do not forget to share.